Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. It's Friday. It's the morning show. It's Stock Market TV. Spencer, Steve, still JC at the beach, but the show must go on. And man, a lot going on out there, right? We just had a job. Does anyone care about the jobs number that just came out? Do we care about that? Jerome Powell's got some things to say. Do we even care about that anymore? I don't. It's kind of hard to, right? What's going on this morning? A lot. Oil. Holy shit. Oil. Dear Lord. We'll talk about it. We'll have Kenny Glick on. We'll have Louis Sykes on. Talk crypto. We'll have Larry Thompson on. See what's on his mind. So that is the plan. What up, chat? How we doing, everyone? Yes. I wouldn't say I've been pretty conservative. I'm net long always, right? I'm net long right now. But I did get rid of all my short-term positions like a couple weeks ago. But I mean, all my long-term stuff is getting smoked. So it is what it is. Let's bring Steve on. Drop me a like if you'd be so kind. And here we go. Oh, with the shades today. Is this
I can't see anything right now.
Is this a bullish indicator or I don't even know what this means?
It's all black.
It's all
Spencer,
black.
did I hear that you're hodling? Did I overhear that?
I mean, look, I've got long-term positions that I don't look at, right? And I don't trade them. So that's a whole separate part of the brain. The short-term stuff, I'm 100% cash, and I've been 100% cash for 2 weeks now, maybe 2.5 weeks at this point. It wasn't because of the tariffs. I didn't even realize that this was going to happen, honestly. It was just because of, you've been saying this for, I don't know, 2 months now? 3, maybe more. So you were earlier than me. I got around to selling a couple weeks ago. So that's what I did.
It's my job to be early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's crazy out there, man. I mean,
learning a lot this week. Markets still not quite feeling liberated, clearly. As it turns out, Tim Walsh maybe isn't the best fade. We learn.
Look, man. I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that like I know about like tax policy and tariffs and like the implications on the economy. I mean, we all have the same general idea, right? We all generally agree. I think most people generally agree that tariffs are a tax on the consumer, right? Most people agree. Not everyone agrees with that. Most people do. But like, I'm not gonna sit here and like be like, oh, like, well, if they negotiate down, then that's a bullish tailwind, and this and then I don't know. I'm sort of adopting like the JC head in the sand policy, which is just like,
don't do that.
Only control what you can control, and look at charts, right? And let that be your guide. I'm trying my best to like tune out, because the noise volume has increased tenfold this week, right? And like even just Twitter, it's impossible. It's impossible.
But it doesn't have to be that complicated, right? Like just super high level, it's about uncertainty. And the uncertainty wasn't cleared by the T-Day announcements, right? The uncertainty remained. So we're just where we were. Maybe one extra step along the process.
Yeah. And look, there's a part of me that like, wants things to go down so I can buy them cheaper. I'm not Mr. 90% crash over here. I'm not about that. That'd be crazy. But wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if things were to go down a little bit more for people like me, at least.
I don't ascribe to that philosophy.
But
you know where I'm at on that.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm not some sort of sick bastard that hopes to lose money.
Look, yeah, like I said, I'm net long. I've got accounts that I haven't been looking at, because why would I look at them now? Because I know what they say, right? Yeah. So I don't need to look. I know. right?
The truth is, these times aren't fun for anybody. Like I was saying on the breakout multiplier call the other day, we nailed these shorts. It's great. It feels good. But if I add up the performance of all my accounts and all my invested dollars, I'm not out here like net short making money, like killing it.
No.
Even in bear markets, I just don't do that. I'm not a miserable person.
Yeah.
Right. Like I hold my longs. I have a retirement account. I probably don't sell enough, even when I am early and was prepared for this. Right. Sell a bunch. I'm still losing money on a day like yesterday. I think any normal person who's positioned correctly for the long term is losing money in a week like this week. So it's great to make a little bit of money.
That's a great way to look at it.
What?
It's a great way to look at it. If you lost money yesterday, all that means is that you are correctly positioned for the long term. Congratulations.
But this could take a while, right? Remember, 2022, this began late 2021, took almost all year. Look, it's not going to be exactly the same, but you can look back throughout history to get some sort of roadmap for where we go from here. Selling like this doesn't just reverse and correct itself tomorrow. We've now, Spencer, at this point, we've gone too far in a sense. The primary trends are not broken, they're shattered. They're beyond repair. We can rally back, we can try to get above some key levels, but the trends are pointing lower. The bears are in control, right? Sellers are dominating the tape every day. You're going to get a massive face-ripping rally to the upside. It's going to start any day. It could start today. It's going to start any day now, right? It's going to fool you. It's going to pull you back in. It could go on for weeks. 10, 20, 30%, I don't know. Right? You're going to get a face ripper, and then guess what happens? The bears are going to come back out. You're going to start to see lower highs forming, right? And a series of lower lows that follow. And that's just where we are right now. So then you have to be patient. You have to let some formidable bases and reversal patterns now print. But this is like a pretty fresh primary downtrend. So give it some time. You don't have to rush in and buy today. You can, like we said, you can pick your spots, right? We talked about those charts like Amazon. Perfect. Right against the prior cycle highs. Guess what? Blasted. 10% through that level already. That's the kind of market we're in. So if you do that too much, right, and you're taking shots and you're saying, oh my God, I got absolutely, blown out of this in a day, down 10%, blew my stop, happened in the pre-market. Maybe don't take a shot tomorrow, right? Wait a week. So you can really be patient at this point as it relates to U.S. equities.
Yeah, we're gonna get some of our best days coming up here probably soon, right?
Great point.
So
yesterday we had worst day since.
Yeah.
I actually asked the analyst team chat. I said, what do we have? So here's I'll give you a list. Banks, worst day since March 2023, the bank crisis. Semis, worst day since the COVID crash lows, March of 2020. Russell 2000, worst day since June of 2020. XOP, worst day since like COVID too. All the oil and gas stuff. NASDAQ 100, worst day since the bear market lows in late 2022. Stocks versus bonds, worst day since May 2022. Mid caps, worst day since the bear market lows, 2022. Discretionary versus staples. Hear me now. Do we have this one? Can we throw this one up? XLY, XLP.
I don't have
worst day since October 2008.
What?
Why is that important?
October 08.
2008.
That was when shit was still hitting the fan.
That was 6 months before the bottom.
Yeah.
Right.
That was was that Lehman? That was somebody.
This is the kind of situation where this is either a great place to buy or a terrible place to buy.
Holy crap.
Volatile times.
If you have to go back to worst day since COVID or worst day since 08, oh my God.
There's more. Transports, industrials, worst day since 08. You know what's not having its worst day?
Berkshire Hathaway.
Dude, Bitcoin. Really impressive.
Things aren't having their worst day, actually. Yeah.
Can't wait to talk to Louis about the impressive relative strength out of Bitcoin. The average NASDAQ stock down 34%. That's the worst we've seen market internals since the bear market lows. The average S&P 500 component down 21%. New cycle lows there.
I got you.
Mid cap component down 27%. Average S&P 600 small cap stock down 32%. It's nasty out there. NASDAQ 100, these are the best stocks in the world. Down average of 25%. So that's where we're at. There's a lot of repair work that we're going to need, and it's going to take weeks and months and quarters, not days. However, you can trade some of these counter trend moves that we're likely to get in this kind of environment. They'll be fierce and fun to trade.
Wait, a few of those charts that you just talked about are in the deck, so let's bring them up real fast.
What a great day for golf, though, huh?
I mean, where I am, like, I don't know. I'm not a golfer, so you tell me. Is it better to golf on like a super overcast day? Because that's how it is for me today. It's like crazy cloudy and overcast.
Yeah, dude, that sun will heat you up a little too much down here. You know?
Right. Well, good to know. Not that I'm golfing today. Anyway, yeah, here's the transports industrials chart. Oh my god.
Yeah, man.
Ooh.
It's ugly out there, Spencer.
It's ugly for oil. On top of all of this, OPEC decided, yeah, what the hell? Let's just pump more oil. What the hell, right? So oil getting killed this morning, down 7.5%.
And here's the problem. It's still kind of too soon for good news. We talked about it 2 days ago, right? We said, now we're at the point where you're going to get country-specific headlines. What was it this morning? China, 34% across the board, right? Yeah. Look, you're going to get an announcement from Germany and Canada, and that's going to be coming like every day. Now, that's going to be terrible. What you're not going to get yet is any help. So Powell's coming on today, and what do you think he's going to say? They're going to want him to say something like, I'm going to come save the stock market. We could maybe cut rates. He's going to say, I don't know. The tariff shit that was announced 2 days ago, we got to wait and see. We got to see it. He has nothing to offer the market that it wants and needs right now. Absolutely nothing. So we're kind of in a catalyst-less predicament here.
What I would love to know, like for Jerome Powell's, like for his prepared remarks that he does, every so often, I would love to know like how far in advance they start figuring out the messaging for that, and then when they lock it in, because I would imagine that he has had to probably significantly change what he was going to say in the last 48 hours, right? He probably had his statement like what. I would assume, I'm just guessing here, like more or less locked in on Wednesday, right? And now it's Friday and things look wildly different, right?
And what could he even change? I get it. Market is literally crashing right now. Okay. But what can the Fed chairman say after one big crash day?
That's the question, right?
This isn't like a save situation here. This isn't the COVID lows. This isn't February, March of 2020. Yeah, there's nothing to do here.
Yeah, there's no stimmy for this situation.
The market's cutting rates for them. Like, it's I don't know, pow. Like, what? Maybe stop QT. That's probably what's coming. An end to QT. That's reverse. Where we are. We're not talking about QE.
If they reverse the tightening a little bit, right? If they stop the selling, right?
Stop selling bonds is what you're talking about.
I don't know. We don't know. We don't know anything, right? But like, first off, they're not going to say that today. Obviously, this is not a policy announcement thing. He's right. So, I don't know what I don't know what they could do. Honestly, they can lower rates.
So I guess my point is, like, there's no shot at Powell coming out here and saving the market today. Market's going to have to just save itself. It is so, like, we're in, like, such wipeout territory at this point. You got to see it, but a big red to green reversal day has got to be coming. I don't know what kind of plants the seed for that or what headline maybe sparks it. Maybe there isn't one. That's always better because I can't really see anything on the horizon. I think you're a couple weeks out from the U.S. making some nicer deals with some of these countries. That's going to take time.
Look, I think I'm sort of
torn. Stocks like Restoration Hardware are down like 50% in a day. I mean, this is crazy.
I was talking to Jeff Mackey Wednesday after the close when we were waiting for the Restoration Hardware earnings conference call. He was listening. I was not. I asked him to listen because I was like, this guy's wild. He's crazy, right? And he says like wild shit on his conference calls, and he delivered. He said, "Oh shit!" He looked at the stock after hours. He said, "Oh shit."
So I saw that. I saw Tracy's tweet yesterday. Did he honestly get on his call and start talking without knowing his stock was down 40%?
Dude,
Oh, that's amazing.
I've said this before. Like earnings conference calls, like almost all of them are insanely boring. If there's one you want to listen to, if there's two you want to listen to, it's Tesla, as long as Elon is there, and Restoration Hardware. Those are the two good ones because the CEOs say wild things on those calls.
Cliff's Resources CEO is also known to throw go off on a absolute rant and tirade on his calls.
Okay. So yeah, bottom line is like man, it is, people are freaking out, right? And I don't blame them because, like, discretionary getting killed. Things that we've been saying, they're all getting killed out there, right? So, like, no one is just like no one is like just with the indexes right now. Everyone is, it's worse than that, right? Because people have mega cap exposure, right? Or they're overweight. So, I don't know, man.
It's a terrible place to be right now.
So there is a ton of fear. We haven't seen this much fear. I mean, probably since 22, right?
I'm picking some spots here. I'm dabbling. I'm dipping in, Spencer.
Why don't we see what's going on in Louis' world? Because as you mentioned astutely, Bitcoin down a whopping 0.45% today.
Looks great.
Wow. Well done, Bitcoin. Let's talk about it with Louis. And there's some other things happening, but all right.
Go for it.
Yep.
Got my fingers on the pulse, avocado and toast.
All right.
Hey guys.
Mr.
I gotta say, I was just in the back room. I've only just woken up just now, just check the markets, and even just backstage just now, just having a look at where the market's at. A few swear words just echoed in my office there. That was market's down really big. And this is quite something to just wake up to.
Yeah, man. Welcome to our world. Your world, though, it's not looking as bad. I mean, Bitcoin, as I said, is relative strength today. Even Ethereum down only 2%, right? Solana down only 1.75%, right? There's some relative strength, question mark, in crypto.
There is tremendous relative strength. And look, it comes down to the fact that this is uncertainty around tariffs, and it's companies and it's people and individuals and consumers in the United States. These are the people that are going to be paying this tax. But you can't tax Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not going to be paying taxes. Cryptos are not going to be paying tariffs. And so it's really no surprise to actually see this relative strength. If you think about idealistically what Bitcoin is really best for, it's for situations like this, where it's a decentralized form of currency away from everything else, right? That's the idealistic version of crypto that everyone's been really saying to us. But now we obviously know that isn't really the case with how it trades. But you're almost seeing that a little bit right now, right? Where everything is literally just collapsing right now, and Bitcoin is actually holding in there. Crypto is holding in there. You can't put a tariff on crypto, and you're seeing that right now.
What an interesting situation we find ourselves in. Here we have a situation, like you said, that theoretically cryptocurrency was made for, in theory, and yet we know of crypto as a risk-on asset. We are in a clear risk-off environment. And so which of those forces overcomes the other? And so right now it's the first force. Right now it's the fact that crypto is untaxable, like you say, and that's what they're hanging their hats on, and that's awesome, I think. But like, what an interesting situation where you have crypto outperforming in a risk-off environment. It's kind of wild to me, right?
It's really wild, and it's I'm just reading some of the comments while you're talking here, and it's we always have this image that crypto is just high volatility, it's just down the risk curve, and so it's just always going to underperform when shit is hitting the fan. It's always going to outperform when it's not. And I think this is really another good example of the fact that the crypto market is potentially maturing, right? Where it's not just this volatile little cousin asset class. It's morphing kind of into its own thing, and you're seeing that throughout this sell-off. I'm not sure if I'm overthinking by saying that crypto's maturing and Bitcoin and crypto in generally just becoming a little bit of a different market. But it's a tremendously fascinating tape right now.
All right,
It's
so
I'm
we've
just
got
going
two
from my charts
scenarios
myself.
here: bullish scenario, bearish scenario. Walk us through it.
Yeah, so look, so zooming out, regardless of what's been happening with Bitcoin showing strength, equity markets collapsing, right? So, what are the two scenarios that I like aggressively buying Bitcoin? One, on a retest of 70,000. If this recent relative strength is just a charade, or even if you get another significant down day, then it might drag crypto and Bitcoin down regardless, because at some point it is probably going to be a source of funds if something is really going wrong. So in the case of Bitcoin dipping below back to 70,000, I think that's also a good level to be thinking about backing up the truck, adding some crypto exposure. I think I just heard Steve coming on just talking about, almost like nibbling a little bit. That would be the level 70,000. I don't think he was talking about Bitcoin. I think he was talking about other things. I could be wrong. But then alternatively, you've got 90,000, where if we rally here, if we find a bottom and then that provides a little bit of support for crypto above 90,000, I think, again, being tremendously long Bitcoin. I think now that it's just exhibited this relative strength, particularly in this tape, I think that's really a solid tick for crypto bulls right now.
What about down that crypto cab scale? I mean, obviously we're talking about Bitcoin right now, but there's a lot more there. Are you looking at that, or are you just focused on the big boys?
I'm sorry, I didn't really quite hear that. Was that about the smaller altcoins?
Yeah.
Yeah, even just going through the charts right now, a lot of these things are down. But they're down quite modestly. They're down 1, 2, 3%, if that. And then if you look at total 3, just going through my charts right now, actually. So total 3, if you put that into trading view, that's the total crypto market cap excluding Bitcoin and ETH. So Bitcoin and ETH obviously make up about 2/3 of the asset class, sometimes it's 75% in the past. That's only down 0.5% today. Down 5%. We're talking about altcoins, small cap crypto altcoins. That's quite something, Spencer.
Don't tell me there's no appetite for risk out there. I mean, clearly there is. People are buying altcoins. I have not checked my spot.dog portfolio in I don't know, probably 2 weeks, maybe more. Maybe I should check it today. How's the fart coin doing? Let's see. Oh, I'm not even logged in at this point. I gotta log back in. All right, I'm not gonna go through that right now. I'll do it after the show.
Bitcoin is up 2.7%. That's risk appetite right
wait,
there.
I am logged in. Never mind. Wow, my fart coin's almost at break even at this point. Oh boy. Things are happening, everyone. Watch out.
Risk appetite right here, folks.
Yeah. All right, listen, guys. Before I forget, I dropped the link in chat. If you do not get Louis' ASC Crypto Daily, it is free. It goes out daily, hence the name of the damn thing. It says daily. The link is in chat. And Louis, actually, I was reading your note today. I don't remember which note it was. It may have been your note to members or your free note about the fact that crypto is not taxable. And I thought, hey, that actually makes a lot of sense, but I didn't know what it was doing until I actually, looked at this chart, right? But god damn. So I'm so interested. Like I said, I'm in cash. I'm as flat as I can realistically be. Maybe we start nibbling in some IBIT or some things of that nature. I don't know.
That's certainly interesting, and again, the levels are really clear, and I think there is somewhat of an opportunity brewing in crypto. But I think just for now, I think just being a little bit patient and just seeing how it all unfolds.
Wouldn't it be so weird? It would be so weird if if we get continued selling in stocks and then Bitcoin and crypto just start ripping. That'd be so weird.
If that actually began to happen and shit was really hitting the fan, and there was some crisis in credit and markets just continuing next week lower and Bitcoin is up, that would be. I'm almost just trying to just think about a scenario where this has happened.
I was going to say, has it ever happened before?
It hasn't. Yeah, it hasn't happened.
God,
So
that would be nuts.
that would be certainly be nuts. All the Bitcoin maxes would certainly be having a field day with that one.
Yeah, they would finally have their moment and say, "See, we were right. Bitcoin is a hedge. See, Bitcoin is a hedge." Okay, maybe, I don't know.
One step at a time.
Yeah, exactly. One step at a time. All right. I don't know if Steve I know Steve went to fill his coffee up. I don't know if he's back yet. I know he wanted to talk to you, but then he went away. So I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to say, or else I'll let you run because I know it's the middle of the night for you.
No, look, I actually want to have a chat with Steve, just see what he's seeing out there. So perhaps we just even pivot away from crypto and just look at everything else. I'm just pulling out all my charts right now. Man, looking at something that's just like energy over the last 2 days, gone from the top of its range right to the low of its range.
Crazy.
It's
energy.
This is something, Spencer. This is something.
Yeah, I mean, you don't see moves. I feel like you don't see moves like this in oil. Like, how many days is oil down 7%? Right? I mean, it doesn't happen all that often. I had to put oil back on my chart. I didn't know. I took it off because I was like, oil is boring. I put it back up now because it's not boring now. All right, why don't we do this, Louis? Why don't you hang out backstage? I'll bring Kenny on, talk to Kenny for a few, then we'll get you and Steve on. You guys can continue your conversation. How's that?
Sure thing. Sounds good.
All right, cool. Kenny is actually I don't know what Kenny's doing. Let's find out.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come for my clock, they tug it. Putting up numbers, 99 problems, and I still kept it 100. Hola.
Glick.
Did you get the email? We've been buying. We've been buying since 7:30 this morning. Peak UVXY, shorted UVXY, long the queues as we speak.
You wrote, "We're liquid and loving it."
Yeah, that's why we could stay focused right now, my man.
Coming
in hot.
What are we buying?
Hey, what's up? But by the way, I want to let everybody know I would like to be known as the man who now. Just that's my new name, the man who. The man who called the top of the market, and I will now also call the bottom of the market. It's not today. The man who. I am the man who. I think what we need now is the excommunication of Cathie Wood. When she says, you know what? I'm just going to walk away. When she shuts the fund down, that'll be pure capitulation, and that'll be the end.
That's never going to happen. Why would she do that?
Listen, I mean, there was a moment on CNBC back in June of 2022. I think you know who I'm talking about. Told you to buy a stock at 125, and at 25, he's like, you know what? This ain't working out after a 100-point sell-off. And that was the bottom of the market. We need a moment like that. We need people on. We need analysts to come on the TV and apologize. But I got to say something. Goldman Sachs has been on the right side of this market since the last in December. They gave us a little note, but I'm just incredibly excited right now because the action is still here. We're just looking to make money, right? So if you walked in this morning and you're thinking about shorting, it was over, right? So peak UVXY. Look what UVXY has done already. And if you could short this product, you're already up 5 points. You're crushing on we got SVIX long, we got SVXY long, we got UVXY short, and we're buying the Qs. So everything's fantastic right now in our world. We're traders. And if we can break out right here on the Qs, we're looking for maybe another 4 points to the upside. And we're only risking about $1 right now. So great stuff. I mean, this is fantastic trading. And what's nuts about this market is that Newsmax was your safe haven yesterday.
Dude, I saw that. It was flat.
It was the most beautiful trade to the point where, give me a second because I want to show you this artwork. Let me see if I have my charts up. It's okay. Here we go. Hang on a second. It was like art. And I'm just so excited about Newsmax because it became a VWAP trader. So here, the first couple of days, there's no way you could possibly know what this thing is going to do. But yesterday, it went right back into the world of VWAP. And let me show you on the 2-day chart how beautiful this thing was. So here you go. You know, we went from massive up move to massive crash to a little stability. There's the $40 hold, beautiful algorithmic print, right? Little Andy Dufresne, VWAP break, Kardashian bottom. So you got the faux show, then your Andy, then the VWAP break, and then consolidation above VWAP, double tap to test it. And then we were off to the races to prior day VWAP. That was us. For us, that was a $44 entry. The stock wound up going to $74 while the market was getting slammed. So, I mean, we didn't even know the market was getting hammered yesterday because we were ripping this thing and just having a time of our lives and just staying focused on ICCT. I gave that one to you in the morning. Look at this monster. I mean, we're all over this thing 3 or 4 times yesterday, and still today, look, it's still in play. So bang.
Crazy.
When you're staying focused on what's working, like, you know, our man on the TV says there's always a bull market somewhere. There is. Or you've been short the cues like we have been this whole time, and you're loving this action. So right now it is crushing the UVXY. We're long the cues, and let's go, people. This is the greatest trading there's been since 1999. This is it. This is what the stories were about. This is the time to be with me, is what I'm trying to say. This is how we are every morning. It never ends. It's not even 9 o'clock yet, kids. This is the moment.
Somebody in the chat asked, I wonder if anyone's actually making money in this market. And I thought to myself, I'm pretty sure Kenny was doing all right.
This has been pretty good. Pretty good. May we live in this moment for maybe this is the plan. Trump's doing me a favor. He's like, you know what? Let's crash the market for Kenny so he gets some volatility so he can have some more fun with this. And listen, I love this action. This is it right now. I mean, listen, if you came in looking to short something at 7:30 in the morning, you're out of your mind. And I'm not saying the worst is over, right? Because if UVXY starts springing back to life, and I'm talking about above 37.50, and let me tell you this right now, friends, if UVXY is over 40, some point today, we're going to be lock limit down, and there would be nobody buying stocks. But that's not happening right now. We live in the moment, and right now, this moment is let's go. We're ripping shorts heads off, because they always overstay their welcome. And now we're going to be selling some cues right here at 440.85. Sold to you.
Yeah, one thing I can always count on Kenny is to find the stocks that are going up, right? Because there are every day, like you said, there's a bull market somewhere. There's always something going up.
And right now it's the cues. It's the cues. It's, you know, the Newsmax, the CRWV. You know, again, there's buyers out here. And again, when does that buying get triggered? UVXY blow off top. Let me show you that chart one more time. And I'm going to show you. Remember, put a Post-it note on your screen, tattoo it to your forehead. Because if we're below, and again, if we're above 40 today, all hell is going to break loose. This product is peak fear, right? Peak fear right there at 7:30 this morning, starts to roll over. That triggers the buyers. People get a little bit excited. We get a nice up move. And again, we've had 3 trades on the Qs already this morning, right? There's your faux show, bro. There's the 7:30 capitulation of the market at 7:30 at peak UVXY. It's all interconnected. UVXY starts to fall. You start sniffing around the bottom over there. I know that sounds gross, but you want to be buying right down there. But there you go. There's where it came out of the bottom range. There's the VWAP break. And we just got paid up to 40.85. What a nice sell. And now I'm selling the rest. And we'll do it again.
All right, UVXY above 40. That's the level we're watching. I love UVXY because the all-time high is $122 billion.
Yes.
Quite funny. But all right, UVXY above 40. That's the move. Kenny is kicking ass, taking names into the room. The link is on the screen. Hitthebid.com. He's there now.
And friends, before I go, if you can't get shorts on these volatility products, there's the inverses, the SVXY and the SVIX, which is kind of stinky, but you're still making a little bit of money on it. So
God bless us. What a time to be alive. You don't actually have to short anything. You can just buy the inverse of whatever the hell you already won.
Precisely.
Crazy. What a time to be alive. Kenny Glick, taking ass, taking names. Hitthebid.com.
All right, I'll see you guys later. I'll send another email to talk about my glorious trades later.
Peace. Do it. I'm serious. Do it. All right.
Bottoms aren't always events. I hate that quote.
Who? What?
Tops are processes, bottoms are events. Look at the bottoms we had this cycle. Some of them took years. I get it. It's a fancy phrase. People like it. It's said a lot, Dawson. It's not your fault.
You want to talk to Louis, Steve? Because Louis is still here.
I do. Sorry. I get busy, Spencer, days like today. You know, I'm thinking too, we're going to offer something new in the future. And I was thinking like a swing trading service just a week or two ago, because I want to do something where it's like after the show, it's what I'm doing in the market. Hey, hang out with me for a little bit, see what we're doing. Spencer, back in 2022, I wasn't swing trading much at all. Remember, I was talking about the generational buying opportunities and some of these massive bases, right? Things like Shopify and Uber and Coinbase.
Dude.
I'm back to thinking that way. I'm seeing some of these stocks just get absolutely slaughtered. And I'm thinking in the next couple months and quarters, we're going to have some generational buying opportunities here.
I mean, we're not quite there yet, but
No. But in certain areas, there's some really spicy stuff going on. I'm talking about stuff that's been clobbered. I'm talking about maybe like a good solar stock that's down 80% and has a 35-40% short interest and happens to be the industry leader, right? I'm talking about some really, really interesting special situations and also international stocks, because international stocks right now are like China was back in Q3. We got the momentum thrusts. We got the big bang. We're starting to see some big trend reversals, and now they're getting clobbered, right? But the thrusts are in. So we already have initiation evidence, right? So now on some sort of nasty sell-off, I think that's the first place to go shopping overseas. You like it, Louis?
I like it. Look, we've been talking about how a lot of these international markets have just hit these big levels of resistance. This was something that we were talking about a few weeks ago. And this is just a place for them just to consolidate and digest. We've seen that right now. And I think the base case right now for international, we've obviously hit that massive initiation thrust. And international markets have just been dead water. They've just been a value trap for the last, decade, right? But now we're in a space where we've actually got really attractive valuation multiples, and then you're actually seeing that momentum thrust right now. So momentum would combine with those really attractive valuation multiples is just a tremendously attractive long-term setup. So now you've got that rinse and a lot of these global markets that have just retested these big levels of resistance. I think now we're going to be entering into this little bit of a coiling phase where they're probably going to be dead money for the next quarter, right?
Tactical
but I think
trends are breaking in a big way today across the board. If you look at something like EFA, EWG, go ahead. So
yeah, exactly. And so a lot of these markets are probably going to be dead money for probably a quarter, right? They're probably going to be building these sideways bases. And while you might think that might be quite a negative thing, I want you just to look out just maybe a year, right? Where we're at these big levels of resistance. We had these big initiation readings. But now if we see some contraction and we see a lot of these markets begin to build these bases, they're going to be right below these resistance levels. And these are historic monumental breakouts that we're talking about, right? So I think exactly what I agree with where your head's at right now, creating a bit of a shopping list. And I think international needs to be a part of that.
Love it. All right. Did you have something that you wanted to say to me specifically about Bitcoin?
About Bitcoin?
Yeah.
As in that it can't be tariffed and crypto is decentral and
I like it.
It's showing relative strength. I know you're sending me a message in Slack earlier this week, and you just said it just makes sense, right? Because Bitcoin isn't paying a tariff. There's no CEO or no consumers of Bitcoin that are paying a tariff, right? And so you're clearly seeing that, and that's like I said before you came on, is that this has almost been the idealistic dream of Bitcoin maxis, where you've had like something that's shitted the bed in traditional markets, and Bitcoin is
working.
Yeah, it's working.
Isn't it working in that way? Wouldn't you say right now?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been coming on here, Louis, saying how unimpressed I am, right, by the bounces in U.S. equities, by the tape. Also, I am impressed, just impressed by the action in Bitcoin right now.
What if markets continue to sell off next week and it's just a bloodbath? And then what if Bitcoin is up?
It's now on a very short list, right? Is the problem. And it's just sitting there waiting to get shot. I would have, if you asked me 2-3 weeks ago, hey, here's what's happening in the US, S&P is going to be down 5% yesterday. What's Bitcoin doing? I'm like 60s, 70s, right? Slaughtered. But no. So does it follow the way of international today? For example, look at EFA, look at EWG, look at anything Europe, VGK, right? They're taking those out to the back and shooting them today. They're finally catching lower. Financials. Right? Financials been so strong, so resilient. Look at XLF. That's a massive top, right? So they're taking down anything that's left, and Bitcoin is left just sitting there. So do they take it down? Can they not take it down? If they don't, this is just huge information. I think you got to eventually buy some sort of bounce once you get a spring off of this level if it keeps holding.
And if it does keep holding, and we do see, because like you said, financials was holding in there, completed a topping pattern just this morning, right now. And so if there's going to be more pronounced weakness here in risk markets, but then again, they don't drag Bitcoin lower, I think that would be the first time ever since this correlation between stocks and cryptos existed where this has actually happened. We've got a material significant drawdown and Bitcoin is not following it lower. That would actually probably be the first time in history that's actually happened to this magnitude.
I'm gonna flip it into the Con-L in a second. a little MSTU. How you doing? All right, good. Shout out Bitcoin. Also, just worth mentioning, I think the euro, really currency markets were a huge story yesterday. A little give back today, but still holding a lot of the gains from yesterday. Whether you look at something like euro, pounds actually giving back a lot of it. CAD giving back some of it, but you're getting little breakouts there, right, in favor of non-US dollars. Something like Brazilian real giving some back today. I'm really, really interested and long right now. But watch the Forex markets. Also, interest rates are literally crashing, and credit spreads yesterday had their worst day since the pandemic. You got to go all the way back to the pandemic. That's not really what you want to see. That's called the bond market freaking out, right? The bond market freaked out yesterday. Is that fair language?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Bond market shit the bed during yesterday's session.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No bueno.
Not good. And if you look, whenever you're analyzing these relative trends, you got to look at the absolute trends to kind of to give you a lot of information, right? In other words, if the relative trend is doing something, you look at the absolute trend and like a pattern just completed, then you could think, okay, that relative trend is going to, move in that direction. If you look at HYG or JNK, which are a part of this credit spreads formula, they're absolutely crashing, completing tops, falling back into the box, undoing their reversal patterns. Not really what you want to see. Right, junk bonds. Talking about junk bonds.
Yeah, precisely. And so, junk bonds completing this top and then massive blowout and credit spreads. This is just all stuff that you see in bear markets. This is not a bull market.
Louis, is it October 08 or is it March 09 right now?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Wow. Are those the only two options?
Yeah, that's quite the choice you gave him there.
Yeah.
All right. Is it like October 08 or is it more like March of 2020?
It's not March 2020.
Are we going to V this thing higher? Are we just going to?
That's an impossible question to answer.
Yes, it is. That's right.
I don't really know how to. I'm not even going to.
Well, it's not March 2020.
You need to ask better questions.
The tariffs are scary, guys.
Scary and just a terrible economic policy.
Yeah.
Some would say it's currently unfair, Louis.
Well,
yeah.
We'll find out. We'll find out in probably a few months, maybe a couple quarters.
Does it make sense that we subsidize the rest of the world a little bit, considering the profit margins on their businesses are closer to like 5%, while the profit margins on our businesses are closer to like 50%? Could that be what
don't be bringing things like that into this argument.
It's a complex topic, right? But there's a really sound argument to be made on both sides, I guess is my point.
Yeah, nobody wants to hear that, Steve.
Why upset the apple cart, right? Kind of thing. Things are going pretty well. Why go around the world and disrupt every little supply chain?
Look, we've had a pretty good 80 years. It's been pretty good, more or less. There's been a couple hiccups here and there, but more or less it's been pretty good. So why mess with that? I don't know.
Every market person would come on here and say the market's going to figure it out. Is it really? Is the market going to figure it out? Are like people going to do all these manufacturing jobs now, like in Alabama, We're going to onshore all this stuff. We're just going to start like building factories here. Do we have the workers? You can't even find workers to work at the local McDonald's, but we're going to throw them into a bunch of like factory shops. I don't understand how it really works for our economy. Are you confused too?
Massively. Massively confused. We are a services economy.
I didn't think we had a competitive advantage in the building widgets, scene.
I don't know.
I don't know either. What am I even talking about?
Louis,
I'm not here to debate tariffs and talk about economics and the policies of economics.
Louis, if New Zealand were in our position right now, how would you be stepping on everyone's throats? What power play would New Zealand have to step on the world right now?
It's a bit of an oxymoron. Power play, New Zealand.
I don't know.
I gotta say, it was actually really interesting just looking at the chart of all the countries, and it said New Zealand has a 20% tariff on the United States, which isn't true because we have free trade with the United States. But that 20% was actually probably talking about our goods and services tax, which that's applying to every other country, and that's actually 15%, not 20%. And so I think even just the calculations of these countries are just a little bit whack. And then you've got Norfolk Island, which is technically this independent country off Australia. It's got a population of about 2,000 people, absolutely got nothing there. And they're putting a tariff on Norfolk Island. Like, I don't think there's going to be any exports out of Norfolk Island from the United States, right? And so just going through a lot of these individual countries, and you can see that some of the calculations are even just a little bit off. And so it's that I found that one quite amusing, just as a New Zealander.
Those Norfolk Islanders need to get in line. Is really what it comes
I know, right?
I think. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm just reading through the chat. This is great.
That's an entertaining day to read through the chat. I got to admit.
Me too. All right.
Shout out Donna Holmes. I like this take. Why should we pay other countries tariffs? Love that. Muhammad GH, last time with tariff, we went to Great Depression. Probably not. But I like it. I like it anyway.
You know what's cool about the chat?
But it's not other countries that are paying your tariffs. It's US consumers. It's importers that pay the tariff, right?
We have a pretty international chat. So this is actually really great because we're not just going to get like an echo chamber up in here. So I like this. This is good. Louis, we'll let you run. It's the middle of the night. Thanks for coming on.
Louis.
Guys, get Louis. All right.
Louis, hold on. Does it hold? Does it hold through the weekend?
Does Bitcoin hold throughout the weekend?
Does it
yes
hold
or no? Gun to my head? Yes, absolutely. I think it does.
Wow.
Let's go, baby. Love it. Love to see it. Crypto Friday. How you doing? All right, Louis.
Cheers, guys. Hey, Steve.
Oh, shit. Wait, Louis, what's up, Louis?
I gotta say, fantastic job on the calls. I mean, you've nailed this entire move. So I just wanted to say, big up on you on that. You've done fantastic. So
if you do this long enough, you get lucky a lot over time. So thanks, Louis.
So humble. Have a good weekend, guys.
So humble. All right, we got Larry Thompson in the house. He sent over a few charts. Larry Thompson wants to celebrate technical analysis.
LT.
Because that is what that is what saved him. I don't know. Let's find out. I don't want to put words. I don't want to put words in your mouth, Larry. So you tell us.
Yo, Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
What's up?
All right. Tell me about you just said before that you want to brag about technical analysis because you think this is a victory lap for that. So
exactly.
Tell us.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, I don't think my background real quick. Shout out to the chat. What up, homies? Just want to mention to you guys, CPA by trade, fundamental guy, all these books on the back of this shelf. The left side is fundamental. The right side is technical. I've studied both. Right. Started out doing the technical analysis while I was doing fundamental analysis. And I realized that these companies, when the stock was going up, all their investments were perfect. Everything was great. And when the market started going down, it's not us, it's everyone else. Right. And there was no ownership and no accountability when it came to that. And that's how the story went. And dived down the rabbit hole of technical analysis, wanted ownership because it was last down cycle, 2019, right? 2017, we had that ripper. It was actually when Trump's first term, I started learning about technical analysis. And I want to take individual ownership for what I could control in the markets, and what other people were saying was narratives that didn't necessarily match what the charts were saying. And honestly, that's what's been this entire year. Technical analysis has kept you on the right side of the field if we're talking about the S&P 500, if we're talking about the broad spectrum of just SPY, which Meb Faber was on a couple of weeks ago. What did he say? It's 10 times larger than any other market. So sorry that that's the one I focus on, right? So
why did so many technicians miss it, Larry? I think the evidence was clear as day if you were following price.
Exactly. I don't know if you want to pull up
with the weighing. Is it a problem with the way the evidence is being weighed?
No, I'll tell you. If you pull up that first SPY chart, Spencer, I could kind of walk through it. The reason is because the market goes up 80% of the time, right? 67% of the time, right? The market goes up 2/3 of the time. So the bar to be bearish is very high from a index level perspective. And so what do people want to do? They want to point out the bear warnings and then say, I'm still bullish, right? That's what we all want to do. Cautiously optimistic, right? And so I think the problem is you can say that, but also say, hey, if we get below this level, I'm getting out. So that's the problem, is this industry is built to go up. The indexes are built to go up. And so it's career risk. It's, hey, there's this one data point that's still bullish. Hey, the market goes up 70% of the time, even when people are bearish, even when we have a topping pattern, even when we get rejected from the 200-day, even when RSI fails to break out, even when breadth is bad. And so this chart, I was talking with some friends this morning, and I was just like, what did the news tell us that price didn't? We traded sideways since December. For 3 months, we almost traded sideways. We had a failed breakout, a fast breakdown below 580, and then we retested the 200-day from the underside and failed. What other information did you need? Right? Yeah. What did tariffs need to tell you? Right? The market was already giving us this information. I have plenty of other charts to illustrate this same thing, but you can look at, the home builders, home construction, semiconductors. These didn't peak last week, right? These peaked January. These peaked late last year, right? Semiconductors has been correcting since earlier last year. And so I think the problem is you have a narrative, you have people around you, and technical analysis was built. These books behind me were written when there wasn't an internet, right? These guys understood that noise existed pre-internet. How much noise exists now? And so the lesson for me in this cycle, last cycle, was take ownership and figure out a way to study the market that actually can make you money. This cycle was, I solidified my trust in technical analysis because it gave us the warnings. It gave us these signs. And I don't think there's anything that price is telling us right now that it hasn't already told us, right? This is no surprise to those who truly believe in technicals. Is it a surprise in the fact that, yes, the market goes up the majority of the time, so the bear case is really high, but yes, when it smacks you in the face, wake up. And that's what it's done this year.
Yeah. I think these were really well advertised tops, really well advertised trend reversals. Like you said, it didn't happen overnight. Something like semiconductors and home builders, it's been building for a year.
Yeah.
We lost large cap growth stocks last summer, really, by most measures. A lot of things have been kind of whistling through the graveyard through this. Internals completely shit the bed. And now the risk appetite ratios, that was really the most recent thing. A few weeks ago, all the risk appetite ratios started going. You had some big, breakdowns and stuff like XLK SPY breakouts and SPLV SPY just this week, last week. So all of those things, it's where you make a list in these environments, right? And you have your bullish points and your bearish points. And when everything evaporates and disappears from the bullish list and the bearish list gets longer and longer and longer and longer, you just know what's coming. And that's the case since December.
Yep. And if you want,
just getting longer.
And if you want to go to just this very simple, the 200-day slide, Spencer, one of the things I will mention here, just hand up, was I taking long trades in this environment? Yes, but it was well-defined risk reward. And to the people I've been talking to, I've told you they're low probability trades, right? And so that's the thing. You can still swing the bat, but just realize
shots all day.
Exactly, right? just realize where probabilities are and realize that this is the environment I'm taking these swings in, right? So people don't want to know that nuance. They want you to be bullish or bearish, right?
Yeah.
They just want you to say, you're going long. Well, I'm going long with this nuance that you didn't read because you only read the clickbait, etc. But the point I want to make with this chart is the saying is nothing good happens below the 200-day. Okay, very simple. You can learn that on YouTube. You don't need to read any of the books behind us. So if the majority of the stocks in the S&P 1500, which is represented here, 500, 400, and 600, were well below their 200-day, right? 2/3 of the stocks were below their 200-day. Nothing good happens below the 200-day. Why did we think something good was going to happen with the tariff news when price was already warning us, right? Those are the questions you want to be asking yourself is, hey, why was I have hope in this? What statistical significant evidence was showing me to be hopeful here other than the market goes up the majority of the time? So just kudos to technical analysis.
Reactions, Brian Shannon taught me a long time ago, the reactions to headlines, events, earnings reports, anything. Price reactions tend to occur in the direction of the underlying trend, and particularly the short or intermediate trend more than the long term. It was clear.
Exactly.
Larry, I'm grateful. I think another problem with being bearish in our position is from a career standpoint, the risk reward isn't great. What do I mean by that? I'm not making any friends out here being the deliverer of bad news. I'm not getting more popular. People don't love me for it. It's coming on here and being honest in times like these. I'm not really winning. I'll win in my account. I get to, share my thoughts with everybody else, but people aren't like dying to buy research in a bear market when you're telling them, the world is ending, protect yourself. They're not like dying to come pay for my research, right? So there's an element of that as well. I'm lucky. I tend to kind of worry about the market and what the market gives me. And then I do this for fun. So I don't have to worry too much, about what I'm saying or what people think about it. So I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think that's something I'm obviously reflecting on, right? Is like, how do you present this information in a way that isn't just, hey, I'm going away and I'm doing nothing, you should do the same. Whereas I think the point here is you can do a couple things with your followers. One, we know the market is eventually going to recover. During this time, you can offer authenticity and build trust and help them learn what just occurred and how will we be more prepared for the next leg up. Because guess what? The sun is going to come up tomorrow, right? And so it's, hey, be here with me when this trend changes. But for now, let's learn, let's digest, let's reflect on what just occurred and what lessons we can take from that. Because I wrote an article yesterday, right, called, I believe it was called The Participant or the Prisoner, right? You can become, you're either a market participant or you're a prisoner to always needing to be active and always looking for the same stuff to trade.
Yep.
And that's where I think just being authentic in that and helping people understand, hey, we might not be making a ton of money right now, but a lot of people are losing it and a lot of people are panicking and a lot of people aren't certain in their future. And that adds value, right? It might not be today, but what was Breakout Multiplier doing? What has it been doing? What are we doing 2 weeks ago? What were we doing these past 2 years? We weren't making 20%, right? We were at a zero, right, to what we were making. And when that time comes again, that's what we'll be doing. So,
it's important. One of the things I always say is make hay while the sun is shining. It means press the gas, go crazy while times are good. In the right environment, go for it. Make all that money, right? Because it won't last forever. Exactly. But then when you see it come to an end, you don't get this FOMO or like, I missed it, I didn't make enough money. You're happy. You're good. You're happy to leave the party early. I was getting mocked just a couple months ago for selling my pounds here, selling my Solana, selling all this stuff. You remember over the past couple of months, people coming in the chat here.
You were paying yourself.
And I kept saying, guys, don't stay too long. You don't want to be the last person at the party. But if you do well and you make hay while the sun is shining, you don't care. When you're leaving up 8x, 10x, 15x in a position, you don't care. Somebody's still in there making an extra 20% on the last.
It's easy to say that now. People care. Oh, I should have held another week. What was I? People care.
Stupid. But if you do this over and over and over and over again, cycle after cycle, you're used to feeling stupid. Yeah. And it's actually information. When everybody's looking at you like you're crazy, you're usually onto something.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. And we could talk about this exact topic all day. And I think also one of the problems is with just society today and where we add value is we've read the text. We've understood the cycles, right? We might be early 30s, late 20s, but I've read the books by the guys written that are 70, 80, 90 that have passed away. And you understand that there's cycles where you should be swinging the bat a lot and you should be adding risk, right? You don't fish year round. You don't cut your grass year round, right? You cut it every week in the summer and spring, and then you don't cut it at all in the winter. The market is no different. Yeah. So I think those are the lessons right now you have to teach people and understand, like, the alpha that's in the market right now when the cycle breaks and when it's messy is your golf swing, is spending time with your family, right? Is getting to the gym, getting those workouts in, reading those books that you didn't have time to read when there was a lot of trades to place. Yep. That's the alpha, because then when you come back next cycle, you're stronger than ever. You're better than ever. You're swinging the bat earlier because you trust your process. You're adding more risk than just always being conservative, right? Because now diversification looks sexy, but no one wanted it 3 months ago.
I've been picking up some books lately. We talked about how I don't read anymore on one of the shows this week. I picked up actually Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. I don't know why. I just felt like I needed that one right now for this environment. So I was kind of, it's a good one. Looking through that yesterday.
I just picked up a new one by Ned Davis. It's not new by him, but The Triumph of Contrarian Investing.
Never read
this one yet.
Fantastic. Ned Davis, one of the best.
So,
okay. I plan to cover about 90% of my long puts and go golfing today.
Have
a great weekend.
Right. It's a good day. Look, it's 9:34. Let's get out of here. Larry's going to be coming on the show more regularly. So, Larry, this was awesome. Great stuff. Guys, we're going to hop. Like you said, Steve's going to go golfing. Larry's going to go to the gym and read some books. I'm going to, I don't know, sit on my desk for a long time and probably do some stuff. But it's Friday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend. There is more to life than what's on the screen and all the red. And it is red, except for shout out Bitcoin, shout out bonds, shout out VIX. Bitcoin, bonds, VIX. That's what I got here. Everything else is down. It's okay. There's more to life to that. Thank you for watching. We'll be back on Monday. We're going to have a good show Monday. I think we're going to have Jeff Mackey and Herb Greenberg on the show at the same time. At the same time. It's going to be fun. Drop me a like. Thank you. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Larry, Kenny, Louie, chat, as always. We'll see you guys. All right.
Like Larry said, the sun will come out tomorrow.
Yeah. And we'll be here, right? We'll be here for the capitulation event. We'll be here for that stuff. So just follow along. Cheers, fellas.
To quote my favorite movie, tomorrow the sun will rise. Who knows what the tide will bring? That's from Castaway. All
Good stuff.
I can't take no loss. I don't even know what it costs.